So the next thing we're going to do with this ear is we're going to kind of add a little more detail for it, and then we're going to start creating the actual depth and thickness of the ear itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my front view, and I'm going to kind of use this as a bit of a guide in how my ear is shaped out. So I'm going to kind of just eyeball it a little bit, but use this side view image as a bit of a guide in the shaping of my ear. So that's going to go over there. This will kind of go there. This will go a bit that way. It's just kind of get a bit more of a rough shape of our ear. That way when we start working on it, it should come together nicely. So that go there. And that looks pretty good for now. So the next thing I'm going to do, which is a pretty complicated part, just because if you mess this up you might make things a little more difficult for yourself, is we're going to start with our extrusions for our ear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge right here, and we kind of want to get all the other edges around here without selecting these three. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to double click, and let's see if it goes to the right or left. Let's see. So I went the other way. So we're going to do it manually. So I'm going to hold shift, click on this one, and I'm just going to go along the length of my ear. That way we kind of have a nice base to start extruding our ear. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to do one extrusion this way. I'm going to bring it back a bit, and that's going to create the beginning thickness of our ear. And then I'm going to press G for another extrusion, and we're going to bring it inwards to kind of create that inner portion of our ear. We might want to even do it this way. Let's see. No, that way doesn't work. Let's try it like that. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And this is going to create that inner part of our ear. And we can kind of go in and adjust our vertices as we need to kind of go around our ear canal if we need to. So in this case, I don't really need it too much, but I am going to kind of close this off a little bit more. Bring it over there. And that looks pretty good when it comes to our ear canal section. You don't want to go too close to the ear canal, because this is a part where it's going to be connecting to our head. So we are going to adjust it a little bit. I might want to go maybe a little bit outward more. And here we kind of adjust as we need to really move these vertices around so it fits nicely. So that looks pretty good. Alright, I like that. So, like I said, a lot of this is just going to be kind of like messing with the vertices and working on it to your best ability. And then as we go through it, we just kind of figure out where things should be going and how they should kind of work out. So, in my case, what I'm going to end up selecting next is this whole edge right here. So I just double clicked it. I'm going to create another extrusion. I'm going to click on this icon right here just so it centers it to the world. I'm going to bring them over like that, and then over this way. And that's going to start creating that kind of connection piece for our ear right here, and for connecting to the head right there. That way it should be in pretty good placement. After that, we kind of go in and really adjust any other vertices we want to move. So like in this case, I might want to take some of these vertices like right here and just adjust them just so it's a bit of a like more natural and nice smoother connection. Oops. And just kind of play around with it to really get a nice spot. We don't want vertices too close together, because we do want to have a nice set of geometry really prepped for it. And we kind of use this as our basis for creating our earlobe, things like that. So like I can move these up so that it helps create that earlobe piece. Now earlobes are a little tricky, and that's kind of where a lot of the detail kind of changes for people, because it really depends on if you have a connected earlobe or a separated earlobe. So like in my case, I do have a separated earlobe. You kind of see by that flap, but some people do have the earlobe connected there, so you just kind of have to adjust yours to really fit whatever your character has as their earlobe. But it doesn't really matter too much. It's really kind of up to you and how your character is set up. So the next thing I'm going to do is just kind of like adjust these vertices and kind of taper them inwards a little bit, just to really get that shape. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of like move them around so we have a nice edge flow going in there. And we can kind of just adjust these vertices however we need. So like in this case, I'm going to kind of bring these downward a little bit, adjust them as I need to. Alright. After that, what we're going to do is I can pretty much go in and select this edge again. And this should probably end up being our final extrusion for this part of the ear, and it's just kind of like a connection piece. So I just kind of move it outwards, and I'm going to scale it this way, and then adjust these vertices however I need to kind of really just set it up before connected to the actual head. It really depends on how you want to do this. You don't even need to do this portion if you already have your head done. But this is just kind of getting it shaped out so that it's connected. So this is kind of a little bit of an optional part. But all I'm doing really is just kind of setting this piece up as if this was part of my skill. So I'm just going to move them around. Just like that, and it's just kind of like a piece of skin that we have for our skull. Okay. Now just small adjustments here and there. That looks all pretty good. Don't think I really need to adjust anything else. So pretty much the last thing you really need to do is kind of work with the shape of your ear and how it's set up. And we probably have enough time in this video just to really finish this off. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to select my object, I'm going to go into mesh, and I'm going to smooth it out. And now you can see I have a nice amount of geometry. My ear is looking pretty good except this portion right here. And that's all going to come into play with everything else in here. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm probably going to end up having to do this by eyeballing it. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through what I've created so far and look at my reference photos. I'm going to use that as my guide in shaping out the inner portion of this ear. So in this case, if I look at it right there, let me just make sure I have the correct one selected. So I might actually go back. Okay. Oops. So what I'll do is I'll smooth this out. And these are the ones that I'm looking for. So these vertices right here are actually going to be going inwards as much as I can. And that's going to start creating that divot right here. So that's going in there. So these should stay up. These should be kind of going inward a bit. And that's just going to be creating that portion right there. Same thing goes for here. And all it is just really shaping it out. So you might have a little bit of trouble with it, but you just kind of go in and shape things as you need. And while I'm not really one for using the soft, kind of modifying vertices or anything in a soft edge mode, this is kind of like one of those situations where it might be helpful just so you kind of get a little bit of a better idea on how it's going. So all I'm going to kind of go in and pretty much kind of follow my reference photos and moving things accordingly. So that looks good like that. And all I'm really doing is just modifying these vertices. When it comes to this area, I'm going to take this whole outer ring right here, or inner ring, and bring those in, and that's going to kind of go like that. I'll bring them outward like there. Might adjust them a little bit at a time, but I will hit a point where I don't really want to go farther because that's going to be right around there, so I don't have that divot part. So that's looking pretty good. I might even go as far as to raise this a little bit more, just so you can kind of see those details a little more defined. And then for this line right here, I'll bring those out more. And that looks good. So now I can go in, and here I'm going to probably push this one in because you kind of can see it go in and under. So I'm going to try to push that back a bit, just like that, without going too far. Maybe go like there. This will go in just like that. These pieces I'll have come out more. And this is all just kind of like details that I'm kind of adding to my ear. And yours might be a little different because, again, like everyone's ear is different. So I'm just going by the reference photos as my guide. But in the end, that's pretty much all you really need to do in creating a nice, realistic looking ear. And we keep going in on this for hours and adding more and more details and making it look better. But you get the rough idea, the rough setup of it. So all I'm doing right now is just kind of like little nitpicky details. And like, I could go in over here, take this vertex, bring it out, kind of give that bit of a bump area, bring this in. But for me personally, I'm pretty happy with this. And that's how you create a realistic ear ready to be attached to a nice head. So I hope that you found this very informational and nice. And yeah, have a nice day. I'm probably just going to end up being here adjusting this more and more for a few hours. Not really a few hours, but probably a few minutes to really define this ear. But again, it's all up to you. It's good enough for now. Alright, see ya.